Yehudi. The feed is on? The regional feed? It's on? The feed, yeah. Go ahead. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Renee Abbas, and I am the manager of the Laboratory Services Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards. It is my great honor this morning to be the master of ceremonies for the launch of our Energy Efficiency Lighting Lab. At this time, I ask that we all stand for the playing of the national anthem. You may sit. Next, I will invite Mr. Aaron Dalloway to give our safety briefing this morning.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome again to the auditorium of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards. As Renee said, my name is Aaron Dalloway, and I am the HSC officer for the location. So just allow me a minute of your time to go through the safety briefings for the auditorium, So in the event of an emergency, or if so advised by one of our safety wardens, they are dressed in orange luminous vests, you will be required to proceed in a brisk but orderly manner to our closest, safest exit points. So as you can see, we have exit points at the base and at the top of the stairs. On exiting the auditorium, follow the directional signs and you make your way out of the building. Outside of the building, you continue in a counterclockwise direction towards the muster point, which is located on the southern end of the building. As a point of reference, you're going to see the national flag and the security booths. That's where you're going to know where the muster point is. You wait there for further instructions. If for some reason you need medical attention, contact one of our wardens. They are trained in basic CPR, and they will be able to provide any assistance required. As it relates, do not re-enter the building unless so advised. As it relates to COVID, the seating has been arranged in such a way to promote social distancing, Mask wearing is not mandatory for this event, however, it's encouraged. Just as it relates to housekeeping, the washrooms are located across from the registration desk. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Aaron. I would now welcome the Executive Director Acting of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, Mr. Rodney Ramnath, to issue some opening remarks. Mr. Ramnath.
Good morning, everyone. Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Nicolette Duke, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Utilities, Mr. Derek Omar, Chief Executive Officer, CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, also known as CROSQ, Ms. Leah Spindleman, Project Manager for Quality for Sustainable Energy in the Caribbean, also known as QSEC Project, Ms. Annette Matt Badal, Project Consultant to the German Metrology Institute, PTB, Mr. Lawford Dupre, Chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, members of the TTBS Board of Directors, management and staff of TTBS, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today it brings me great pleasure to welcome you to this event, marking the opening of the Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory at the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards. This is a significant milestone for our national quality infrastructure and will also support CARICOM's regional quality infrastructure. The Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, or TTBS for short, is a key agency in Trinidad and Tobago's national quality infrastructure and functions as this country's national standards body, National Metrology Institute, National Lab Accreditation Body, and National Quality Certifying Body, which includes inspection, testing, and certification activities. In this regard, TTBS has, with the support of its line ministry, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, used these services to support trade and industry, promote public, industrial welfare, health and safety, and protect the environment. Trinidad and Tobago, CROSQ, and the world has been focused on how we can use energy more efficiently, thereby contributing to a reduction in greenhouse gases, the prevention of climate change, and creating a more sustainable future for our people. This mindset was the basis for the establishment of the Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory. In August 2020, the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, CROSQ, along with the German Metrology Institute, Physikalische Technische Bundesanstalt, or PTB for short, commissioned the Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory as part of the project Strengthening Quality for Sustainable Energy in the Caribbean. One of the objectives of the QSEC project is to expand the available quality infrastructure services in the Caribbean for energy-efficient electrical devices and renewable energies. As the Acting Executive Director of TTBS, it brings me great pride to know that the Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory has positioned Trinidad and Tobago as a regional center of excellence for testing the energy efficiency of lighting products, thus raising the level of energy efficiency awareness in the region. The Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory will have the capability to execute a suite of tests for its clients, which will be discussed in greater detail as we progress in this morning's proceedings. The mission of TTBS is to champion the development of the national quality infrastructure for the improvement of the competitiveness and sustainability of our country. In so doing, we also contribute to the development of our regional quality infrastructure in CROSQ. In closing, please accept my sincere gratitude to all who were involved in the successful launch of this laboratory. This important day reinforces our ongoing work to protect the environment, build a culture of quality in Trinidad and Tobago, and ensure a sustainable future for the Caribbean. Thank you, and I now hand you back over to the Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramnath, for those welcome remarks. At this point, I will invite the chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, Mr. Lawford Dupree, who will do the opening remarks for the lab launch. Mr. Dupree.
Good morning to everybody. Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Nicolette Duke, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Utilities, Mr. Derek Omar, Ms. Leah Spindleman, Ms. Annette Matabal, members of the Board of Directors, Mr. Ramnath, management and staff of the Bureau, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all as the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards launches a new addition to its Lab Services Division, which is the Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory. I take this opportunity to thank the collective team comprising TTBS professionals and industry stakeholders for contributing towards the growth of the quality infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago and the region through the launch of this state-of-the-art facility. I would also like to thank the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards, which is, we shortened it to CROSQ. I'm going to say some words in German here, you'll have to excuse me. And the Physikalisch Technisch Bundesanstalt as major contributors to this project aimed at strengthening the regional quality infrastructure in the Caribbean in the areas of energy efficiency and renewable energies. I would especially like to thank the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, who has commissioned this project. And as I said before, I ask their forgiveness of my pronunciation of those German words. The services of the strengthening of quality for sustainable energy in the Caribbean project are geared towards the expansion and enhancement of quality infrastructure services, particularly in the area of standardization, metrology, and testing, with the goal of supporting and providing a solid technical base for the use of energy-efficient devices and the application of technologies for making use of renewable energy sources. In line with this, and as the country's national standards body, TTBS continues to press forward with the fulfillment of its role to engage our stakeholders to achieve our mandate under the Standards Act of 1997. Standards are required for the proper development of the energy efficiency and renewable energy sectors across the region. Since 2007, there has been a regional energy policy, and the level of awareness among member states has been growing. Annual events like the Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum have been in existence for 8 years and continue to play an important role in informing governments and utilities of the latest developments in this sector. And while it has been highly effective, it has not yet brought to the fore the need to implement standards as a means of effectively developing the energy efficiency sector, protecting consumers, and protecting investors. Despite this, the level of energy efficiency awareness has certainly increased during this decade, and an appreciation of standards and testing is becoming more recognizable amongst communities. Consumers are emboldened to call out products which do not deliver on their promised performance, and hence the need for consumer protection agencies and ongoing education for importers, retailers, and consumers alike. Consumer protection has a wide scope of responsibility, given the volume of products and services procured each day. And in this respect, a framework already exists to address consumer concerns. The need has been heightened in recent years as a result of the influx of large volumes of energy-efficient appliances. This function is often performed within the regulatory mandate, but has also been observed within the Consumer Affairs Agency. Retailers and importers are very receptive to an environment which maintains conformity to a standard. And they believe that an unfair situation exists where inferior products are able to come into the market at cheaper prices, thereby undercutting their efforts to provide quality products to consumers. And as such, one of the goals of the Energy Efficiency Lighting Lab includes the testing of lamps to the selected international standards. So these lamps are the LEDs and the CFLs, compact fluorescent lights. It will also apply the established regional minimum energy performance standards and implement a regional and national labeling standard. This new facility will therefore support the implementation of a regional testing and labeling standard program designed to promote the use of energy-efficient household appliances and illuminants to include lighting equipment, refrigerators, and air conditioners, which will contribute to lower energy consumption. A common labeling standard will provide consumers with a uniform performance label with clear information that reflects local conditions. And this will enhance the consumer's procurement experience, encourage more energy-efficient purchasing behaviors, and speed up the region's progress towards its energy-efficient goals. So in closing, I would like to re-emphasize that the overarching vision of TTBS is to advancing quality for all in Trinidad and Tobago. The Energy Efficiency Lighting Laboratory supports this by fostering a robust quality infrastructure, which should in turn improve the quality of products available to consumers in the region. As chairman of TTBS, I would like to take the opportunity to thank all of our stakeholders in this project for their support, and to all in attendance today, and all who were involved in this project, I express our sincere gratitude for your major contributions to assist the Bureau in fulfilling its mandate. We certainly are proud of our part and doing our part in helping to maintain the Bureau as the leading national institution for standards and quality in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dupree, for those insightful words. At this point, we will switch to our regional partner, the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, and we will hear remarks from the CEO of CrossQ, Mr. Derek Omar. I direct your attention to the screen, members of the head table. Members of the head table, the screen.
The Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards Energy Efficiency Testing.
We're supposed to have the remarks from Mr. Derek Omar. He's coming in live through our Zoom feed.
You hear me?
Yes, Mr. Omar, we're hearing you. Can you put on your video, please?
Okay, yeah, the video is on.
We're seeing you now.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Skoon, Minister of Trade and Industry. It's a pleasure meeting you today again, ma'am, instead of quoted, so that's very good. Ms. Nicolette Duke, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Utilities. Mr. Lawford Dupree, Chairman, Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, members of the TTBS Board of Directors, Ms. Leah Spiedelman, PTB Project Manager for Quality for Sustainable Energy in the Caribbean, QSEC Project, Mr. Rodney Ramnath, Executive Director, Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, and management and staff of the TTBS. Specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for allowing CrossQ to be part of this event and for inviting us here this morning. The CARICOM region is amongst the most severely affected by climate change. The region, a group of small island developing states located in the Caribbean Sea and bound through formal Treaty of Chaguaramas, is not a significant emitter of carbon, but is vulnerable to the effects of global warming, as we know. This is seen in rising sea levels, coastal erosion, intense droughts, increased flooding, and increased intensity of hurricanes. To survive and mitigate against climate change, member states must develop, adopt, and implement national policies to increase the uptake of sustainable energy measures geared towards reducing energy uses and consumptions, as well as carbon emissions. A regional approach to the development and harmonization of these policies and measures will assist member states that lack the capacity to implement them on their own. A regional approach will also facilitate the strategic and optimal uses of resources. The CARICOM energy policy and the accompanying Caribbean Sustainable Energy Roadmaps and Strategy, CSRMs, both owned by the CARICOM Secretariat through its energy unit, guide the development and rollout of the regional energy agenda, an agenda that is aligned with international treaties and agreements, and which in turn national energy policies need to be aligned to. Regional institutions such as CROSSQ, which were established through the Treaty of Chaguaramas to support the Caribbean community in the achievement of its development goals, have assumed significant roles in executing aspects of these regional strategies contained in the CARICOM policy on energy efficiency and renewable energy. The CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, CROSSQ, was created to support the CARICOM single market and economy and its 15 member states in the development and harmonization of a regional quality infrastructure in all socio-economic sectors, including energy, that includes standards, metrology, and conformity assessment, testing, inspection, and of course, certification. One of CROSSQ's first ever energy initiatives was the development and rollout of a CARICOM Regional Energy Efficiency Building Code, and this was effected in or around 2018. This was then shortly followed by the development and implementation of an energy efficiency labeling standards and minimum energy performance standards for appliances, ACs, refrigerators, and lights that are significantly used in buildings and that also assist member states in meeting national determined contributions. Thereafter, CROSSQ, with the support of its German donors, as well as other donors from Europe and America, started to pilot a regional harmonized energy efficiency labeling scheme for these appliances, which were air-conditioned refrigerators and lights. The pilot scheme has been quite successful to date and is administered regionally, but is expected to be implemented nationally in all member states in the future. Our vision is to have an energy efficiency labeling scheme for air-conditioned refrigerators and lights that is rolled out in each of the 15 CROSSQ member states in regards to these domestic appliances and that are equally applicable to public buildings. In the region, we envisage that energy efficiency is extremely important as the foundation before we can actively move to renewables. And energy efficiency is also important in reducing consumption of energy, reducing electrical bills, and importantly, reducing the amount which is spent on the importation of fossil fuels into the region. In the current stage, the energy efficiency lighting scheme is being pilot tested in 5 member states: Belize, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, and Jamaica, with relatively good success according to each member state's needs. In this regards, the Energy Efficiency Laboratory of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards is critical to the implementation of the energy efficiency labeling scheme in all the member states. The laboratory is being developed as a center of excellence for the provision of energy testing services for lighting equipment in the region. The laboratory and its personnel have benefited from regional investments in equipment, training, study tours, quality audits, and the creation of a procedural handbook, all necessary to take the point of readiness to conduct its anticipated role in the scheme. As we dialogue with other member states who are moving towards the start of the CARICOM Energy Efficiency Labeling Scheme, we can say that we are pleased with the TTBS's Energy Efficiency Laboratory for Lighting, and we are confident in its ability to serve the region and not only the national requirements. The commitment of TTBS in serving the region in this capacity has been very evident to us and is very inspirational. And we thank TTBS very much for embarking on this course. Today's launch of the laboratory puts the region in an even stronger position towards fulfilling commitments based on our nation's leaders, particularly in recent years, to move collectively towards greater efficiency in the area of energy efficiency and to lighten the fossil fuel burden on government spending. CrossQ therefore extends a hearty congratulations to the current director of the TTBS, Mr. Rodney Ramnath, and previous directors, whom all would have contributed to putting the laboratory on this trajectory, as well as the manager of the laboratory, Ms. Abbas, and her laboratory staff, especially the project champion, Mr. Dudnath Singh, for taking the mantle and seeing to the development of the laboratory's capability to serve our region. Thank you all very much for this. As a regional organization leading the development of regional quality infrastructure, CrossQ stands poised to support and aid in the further success of TTBS's contributory endeavor and the cascading impact which we will have on our member states. In regards of also thanking major contributors, we would also like to thank one of our team members here, that's Ms. Janice Hilaire, for the great work that she has been doing in both envisioning what can be in respect of this energy efficiency labeling scheme, and then negotiating resources from various contributors to bring this all together today. So thanks very much, Janice. And you were also ably assisted by Ms. Latoya Burnham and other technical team members here. So as we move forward, we envisage a future where the laboratory is efficiently and effectively operating and assisting member states with their own testing needs for lighting equipment and related products. And we are eager to see it utilized for this purpose. CrossQ extend congratulations to Trinidad and Tobago in general, and the TTBS in particular, for accepting the challenge and delivering on same, and pushing forward to develop and expand the capacity of your national quality infrastructure to the regional level. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for allowing us to bring these remarks from CrossQ and for being with us on this journey with you. Thanks again.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much to Mr. Derek Omar, CEO of CrossQ. We would now have a very brief video presentation from the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, CrossQ.
The Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards Energy Efficiency Testing Laboratory for CFL and LEDs is expected to play a major role in the Regional Harmonized Energy Efficiency Labeling Scheme. The scheme is being administered regionally by the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality and will be implemented nationally by member states of CARICOM. Trinidad and Tobago, through its Bureau of Standards, it is being set up as a center of excellence. This means that the lab will be not just performing testing services nationally, but also for the region at large. So it will be performing those services for all countries that are part of the energy efficiency labeling scheme. When the scheme was conceptualized in 2016, member states were asked to indicate if they were interested in participating, and the Bureau of Standards stepped forward indicating that it was interested in participating and it was interested in performing testing services for the region. Countries, because of our populations, of the CARICOM countries, each country cannot accommodate having a testing lab. But Trinidad and Tobago already had integrated CFLs, which is the equipment used in providing those tests. And they indicated that they were willing to pilot with CrossQ. At the regional level, energy efficiency labeling standards for domestic appliances, air conditioners, refrigerators, and lighting equipment have been developed, and regional energy efficiency labels have been developed as well. So member states have been adopting some of those standards or all of them. But at the national level, Trinidad, in collaboration with CrossQ and the various projects which CrossQ has been implementing, the R3E project and the QSEC project, which are funded by the German government, the TAPSEC project, which is funded by the German government as well, and the M4SET project, which is funded by the OAS. They've assisted the Bureau in putting together key steps or making improvements and building capabilities in key areas so that they can perform the role which we envisage. So we have gone and collaborated with the Bureau. They have had their technicians trained in Brazil. They've participated in a study tour in Cortland, New York at an international recognized lab, an accredited lab. They have had the National Procedures Manual developed, which will guide their market surveillance activities. They have had gap analysis done to determine if they are at the point of readiness or what is needed to take them to the point of implementation readiness. And equipment has been purchased to assist or support in the conducting of the energy efficiency testing. So all of those key areas, all of those steps have assisted the lab in building its knowledge, its expertise, and getting it to that point of readiness. So looking at the progress that the lab has made since 2016 to date, I think the lab is well on its way in being able to fulfill its role and to provide testing services for the region at large and to support the regional harmonized energy efficiency labeling scheme.
Next, we will have virtual remarks from one of the main sponsors of the project, that's PTB. And we have the remarks from the PTB project manager, Ms. Leah Spindleman, who will be joining us via Zoom.
Thank you, Renee. Good morning to you all. I would like to extend warm greetings to the Honorable Paula Gopiskun, Minister of Trade and Industry, to Ms. Nicolette Duke, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Utilities, to Mr. Derek Omar, CEO of the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, to my colleague, Ms. Annette Badal, to Mr. Laford Dupré, Chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, to all members of the TTBS Board of Directors, TTBS Executive Director, Mr. Rodney Ramba, management and staff of TTBS, and of course, especially invited guests, members of the media, and last but not least, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to this event to speak on behalf of PTB, the German Metrology Institute. It is particularly heartening for me to congratulate TTBS in the name of PTB on the official launch of the Energy Efficiency Lab. As Mr. Ramnath mentioned, this laboratory came into existence as part of a predecessor cooperation project between PTB and CrossQ called Strengthening of the Regional Quality Infrastructure in the Caribbean in the Areas of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energies. The laboratory has received continuous support through the current joint project, QSEC, Quality for Sustainable Energy in the Caribbean. And as you can see, the project name has gotten a bit shorter, but the aim of our cooperation has not gotten less ambitious. Energy efficiency has been a joint concern for CrossQ and PTB for many years now. Ladies and gentlemen, the previous speakers have already laid out that we are preparing the introduction of a regional energy efficiency labeling program for household appliances. And I would just like to highlight that the laboratory we are officially launching here today plays a central role in this project. It is a regional center of excellence for energy efficiency testing. Here, all lighting product types will be tested upon importation so that they can be classified and labeled, making it transparent to consumers how energy intensive the products they see in the store really are. Thanks to the financial support from the German government and our Caribbean partners, we were able to organize trainings, procure equipment, and conduct an interlab comparison to help prepare the laboratory to perform testing services for the whole region. And a few weeks ago, my colleague Annette and I had the opportunity to visit TTBS and have the lighting laboratory shown to us by Dugnat Singh. And after this visit, I can say that I'm more convinced than ever that the laboratory is well on its way. We believe that energy efficiency policies can only be successfully implemented when supported by data. And the regional labeling program can only be successful with help of the accurate, reliable, and consistent testing results this laboratory will provide. We are proud to be part of this endeavor, but most of all, we would like to express our gratitude to the team at TTBS and to our partners at CrossQ for having the vision and drive to make this project a reality. Thank you for your expertise and hard work. And yeah, I would just like to close saying that working with you has been my pleasure, and I'm sure it will continue to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Spindelman. We will have a very brief video from PTB at this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lea Spindelmann from the German National Metrology Institute, PTB. I coordinate the CUSAC project on strengthening quality infrastructure for sustainable energy in the Caribbean. On behalf of the German government, PTB has been cooperating with CrossQ and CARICOM member countries for 2 decades. It is with great pleasure that we compliment TTBS on the launch of their energy efficiency lighting laboratory, and we are proud to have contributed. The laboratory will play a crucial role in strengthening energy efficiency in the Caribbean as a regional center of excellence for testing and conformity assessment of lighting devices. Thank you very much to the entire TTBS team for their extraordinary commitment. I'm proud to be part of this long-lasting, trusting, and fruitful cooperation.
Next, we will welcome Permanent Secretary Nicolette Duke from the Ministry of Public Utilities to bring us remarks from the Ministry of Public Utilities. Ms. Duke.
Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Lawford Dupre, Chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards and your Board of Directors, management and staff of the Bureau of Standards, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to be here this morning and to represent the Ministry of Public Utilities, as well as the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, Minister of Public Utilities. Minister Gonzalez has asked me to convey his apologies for his unavoidable absence and to share the following on his behalf. We at the Ministry of Public Utilities are acutely aware of the critical role that utilities like electricity, water, telecommunications, and waste management, to name a few, play not just in the everyday lives of our citizens, but in the development of our broader society. These are the wheels that keep our families, communities, and nation moving forward from day to day. As such, we are dedicated to the continued improvement in quality and the expansion of the services that we offer to the general public. Today, I am happy to congratulate the TTBS, or ally and partner in the thrust towards national development, on its most recent achievement in executing the important role of developing, promoting, and enforcing standards in order to improve the quality and performance of goods produced or used in Trinidad and Tobago. The TTBS assists in ensuring industrial efficiency and development, promoting public and industrial welfare, health, and safety, and protecting the environment. You can imagine then the many ways in which the men and women of the public utility sector are indebted to the TTBS and its governing ministry, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, none more so than those who work in the electricity sector. One way in which the TTBS has proven itself to be a notable ally in this area of endeavor is in the national drive towards greater energy efficiency and conservation, which is why this particular initiative is such an important one. This energy efficiency lighting laboratory will be instrumental in testing the efficiency of lighting products, and in so doing, it will facilitate real-life improvements in the standards at which the sector currently operates. Of course, all this is in keeping with government's National Development Strategy, also known as Vision 2030, and more specifically with themes 4 and 5, which speak to building global competitive business and placing the environment at the center of social and economic development. This then is a step in the right direction for a number of reasons, and it should be celebrated even as the TTBS continues to work towards the development of quality infrastructure services locally and within the region. We at the MPU congratulate you for your continued and strategic efforts to help create a facilitating environment for our nation's sustainable development. And we look forward to continued partnerships that will benefit the people of Trinidad and Tobago, not just in the present, but for decades to come. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary Nicolette Duke. Next, we will have the feature address being delivered by Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry. Senator.
Thank you very much, and let me recognize PS, Chairman, Acting Director, other directors, members of the media, general audience, pardon the rest of the protocols. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today to deliver remarks at the launch of this new energy efficiency lighting laboratory developed by the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards. And I really wish to recognize the Bureau for its commitment and diligence in establishing this lab in Trinidad and Tobago, which is actually the first of its kind in the Caribbean, and that deserves a round of applause. So that the government continues to be an advocate for the conservation of energy by reducing the country's carbon footprint as articulated in the country's National Development Strategy, Vision 2030, and the National Environmental Policy, which has prioritized energy conservation and energy efficiency as a critical pillar for government's development agenda. This is also aligned with Trinidad and Tobago's commitments under the Paris Agreement that advocates for the decarbonization of economies. Today's launch of this energy efficiency lighting laboratory is a testimony of the government's dedication to further reducing the country's carbon footprint through the use of greater energy efficient technology. At the UN Conference of the Parties 2021, countries were encouraged to further reduce harmful emissions. And to deliver on these targets, one of the goals identified was to encourage investments in renewables. So that this new energy efficiency lighting lab is a positive step in this direction through the implementation of the testing and labeling program for compact fluorescent light bulbs, more commonly known as CFLs, and light-emitting diode bulbs, which are LEDs, lighting products. And with the establishment of the lab, the Energy Efficiency Lighting Lab in Trinidad and Tobago, consumers will now benefit from having accurate information to compare these brands of CFLs and LEDs, so that businesses in Trinidad and Tobago and the region can also have their lighting products tested and verified locally in Trinidad and Tobago. And in the past, lighting products would have to be sent to a country outside of the region to be tested. So this is a great achievement. The establishment of the Energy Efficiency Lab is also testimony of government's focus on developing and strengthening the national quality infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago, which is part of the overall implementation of the National Quality Policy 2018-2013 and serves as a guide for the development of the country's quality infrastructure. And as part of the implementation of the National Quality Policy, a number of key projects were identified and are currently being undertaken. And these include this revision of the Standards Act and the Metrology Act, the establishment of the Trinidad and Tobago Accreditation Service for Conformity Assessment, better known as TTASCA, and also building the country's quality culture and the accreditation of public labs, which is ongoing. And these projects are all geared towards strengthening the national quality infrastructure and for facilitating trade. The Energy Efficiency Laboratory is capable of performing tests related to the energy efficiency of CFLs and LEDs, utilizing the regional minimum energy performance standard for lighting products. The output from the test will be used to generate accurate information of these products, and which then will be placed onto their labels. The establishment of this lab was predicated on the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, CROSQ, and their mandate by the CARICOM Council for Trade and Economic Development, COTED, at its 41st meeting in Trinidad and Tobago to aid in the sustainable development of the energy sector. In this regard, CROSQ launched the strengthening of regional quality infrastructure in the areas of renewable energy and energy efficiency for electrical appliances. This project is known as the R3E project, and it was designed to meet the region's need for capacity building in the areas of energy efficiency. The minimum energy performance standard was developed as part of this particular project. When the R3E project concluded in July 2019, the Quality for Sustainable Energy in the Caribbean project came on stream to build on the successes of the previous project. And under the QSEC project, CROSQ conducted an audit of the laboratory services currently offered within CARICOM. And the audit reported that Trinidad and Tobago, through the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, possess the basic requirements for establishing a testing EEL laboratory for CFLs and LEDs. And accordingly, the development of the Energy Efficiency Laboratory emanated from the findings of this audit. In addition to government funding, the establishment of the Energy Efficient Laboratory was financed through CROSQ and the Ministry of Planning and Development's Global Environmental Fund project. Thank you. And this funding was used to outfit the lab with updated and modern testing equipment, such as an integrating sphere, a spectrophotometer, power meter, lamp testing aging rack, a standard lamp, and AC testing power source. And so, as I close, I would especially like to commend the TTBS for this achievement and very outstanding work in boosting the quality infrastructure in Trinidad and Tobago through the launch of this lab. This lab will have a transformative impact on the quality of CFLs and LEDs that are on the market in Trinidad and Tobago and also in the wider Caribbean region, whilst enhancing the competition of these items in foreign markets. So basically, this was what it is. I thank you so much, and I congratulate TTBS on this fine achievement today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon. At this point, as the manager of the Laboratory Services Division, it is my distinct pleasure to give the vote of thanks. Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Ministry of Trade and Industry. Permanent Secretary, Ms. Nicolette Duke, Ministry of Public Utilities. CEO of CrossQ, Mr. Derek Kumar. Chairman of the TTBS Board of Directors, Mr. Lawford Dupre. PTB Project Manager, Ms. Leah Spindleman. Directors of the TTBS Board of Directors. The Executive Director Acting of TTBS, Mr. Rodney Ramnath. Members of the regional NSBs, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that through the preceding speeches, you would have understood the importance of this laboratory to CARICOM for the implementation of the Regional Energy Efficiency Labeling Program. This facility would not have been built without the assistance and generosity of several organizations. Firstly, I would like to thank the staff of CrossQ for the faith that they expressed in TTBS to deliver on the promise of establishing an energy efficiency lighting lab. Thanks to PTB for their contribution to regional development in the area of energy through the R3E and then CUSEC projects, and specifically for the funding of equipment, training, and consultancy for this lab. Thanks to the Environmental Policy and Planning Division of the Ministry of Planning and Development for recognizing how this energy efficiency program fits into Trinidad and Tobago's broader goal of the implementation of the Montreal Protocol and subsequent Kigali Amendment. Thank you to UNDP for their financing of the design and infrastructural work in the lab. Thank you to the Ministry of Trade and Industry for allowing this lab to be listed as one of our PSIP projects and the subsequent financing for cabinetry and other furnishings inherent for the lab. Thank you to the Board of Directors, management team, and staff of the TTBS, in particular, the staff of the Marketing Unit and the Lab Services Division for your involvement in this project. A very special thank you to Mr. Dudnath Singh, who spearheaded the development and continual progress of the lab. Mr. Singh. Last but not least, thanks to our local participants and regional neighbors who attended this launch, both in person and virtually, to celebrate the opening of this new regional lab. Thank you. At this point in time, I will invite Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Permanent Secretary Nicolette Duke, and the other members of the head table to join with us for the ribbon cutting ceremony. Will Ms. Natalie Denny please stand up? Will you please follow Ms. Denny, who will escort you to the entrance of the Energy Efficiency Lab. Now, after the head table has exited the auditorium, I will invite members of the media to follow Mr. Kirk Bajan. Kirk, would you stand up, please? And Mr. Hugh Pickering. They will escort you to the entrance of the lab. Now, due to the physical limitations to the size of the lab and the sensitivity of the equipment, we will not be able to let all of you visit the lab for the ribbon cutting. However, we will have a live feed that you can witness from your seats. And after the ribbon cutting ceremony, we will be able to engage in a virtual tour of the lab. All right, I will now invite Mr. Kester Sulal to the stage. And Mr. Sulal will take us through the rest of the ceremony. We just have to wait a few minutes for the minister to arrive at the entrance to the lab. Mr. Sulal?
Good morning. As we await the live feed of the ribbon cutting ceremony, I invite you all to complete the customer feedback survey forms located in your folders. So for the online participants on the YouTube and Zoom platforms, kindly locate the form by clicking on the Google link in the chat box. Now, we appreciate your feedback and comments. So once you have completed, the ushers will pass around and collect. We thank you for your patience. At this point, we will cut to our live feed of the ribbon cutting by the Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopiskun. Now, I don't think we have any volume there, but this is the integrating sphere in which the lamps are actually tested.
Uh-huh. Okay, good. So all of this was expensive?
Yes, those equipment was expensive and sponsored by PTB.
Okay, very good. PTVs, and what did we pay for?
So in terms of infrastructure, so in terms of the vestibule and
Getting the readiness.
yeah,
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
And what is in there?
Right.
Oh, and
Very interested.
Yes, so in terms of PIP, we purchased these 2 testing racks to do the aging of the bulbs.
Right.
So we age the CF.
test the age here.
Yeah.
Right.
So once we age the bulbs here, then we'll move from the
where
rack
the
room.
LEDs?
So these are the LEDs.
And then it's
And the
CFLs.
CFLs. So the CFLs are aged for 100 hours, and then we move it from the rack room into the sphere to conduct the testing.
Righto. Oh, you age them first and then you conduct the
Yeah,
testing.
but the LEDs don't need aging. They go directly after they are conditioned through the environmental conditions.
And what is this piece of machinery about?
Right. So
This is
this
the
is
rack.
the rack. So this
Okay.
will typically for the bulbs to start testing.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for having you here.
I feel good about this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good, Chairman. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. we're done. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Why did they show the videos?
Huh?
Why did they show the video first?
This is how the one.
Okay, so before we close this morning's session, may I add that this is yet another pillar to realizing sustainable energy consciousness within our society. Please partake again in the light refreshments that we have outside, and I bid you farewell and a safe journey and a productive day. So thank you. Good afternoon.
See labels, read the labels carefully. You will see they are the key to energy efficiency. You must read the labels when you're shopping for a fridge. These labels you cannot miss on LED bulbs and CFLs. You'll find them on ACs as well.
The new CARICOM energy efficiency labels will help you make better decisions on electrical items you purchase. They show you how much energy is used by each product so that you can save money and electricity in your homes and businesses. Look out for the labels on refrigerators, AC units, and light bulbs. To learn more about these new labels, visit energy.crosq.org.
See labels, read the labels carefully. You will see they are the key to energy efficiency. You must read the labels. See labels, read the labels carefully. You will see they are the key to energy efficiency. You must read the labels when you're shopping for a fridge. These labels you cannot miss on LED bulbs and CFLs. You'll find them on ACs as well.
The new CARICOM energy efficiency labels will help you make better decisions on electrical items you purchase. They show you how much energy is used by each product so that you can save money and electricity in your homes and businesses. Look out for the labels on refrigerators, AC units, and light bulbs. To learn more about these new labels, visit energy.crosq.org.
See labels, read the labels carefully. You will see they are the key to energy efficiency. You must read the labels. See labels, read the labels carefully. You will see they are the key to energy
new Caricom energy efficiency labels will help you make better decisions on electrical items you purchase. They show you how much energy is used by each product so that you can save money and electricity in your homes and businesses. Look out for the labels on refrigerators, AC units, and light bulbs. To learn more about these new labels, visit energy.crosq.org.